Barbara Cannon, how are you doing today?
I'm well, thank you so much.
Awesome. Thank you so much for giving the opportunity to be visiting your office and talking on this beautiful subject called Answers for Elders. So, first thing first, why the experience land? That's one question that I always begin the podcast with, that why the experience land?
So, I have to be honest, I saw your videos on Facebook of my hometown of Hull.
Hull, Massachusetts.
Hull,
That's a separate
Massachusetts.
page altogether.
Right, Hull, Massachusetts. And I was so intrigued and I was so drawn to your videos. And then I went to your page and saw that you did podcasts, and I reached out and said I'd be interested in meeting with you to do this.
Yes.
Yeah, I was so drawn to what you do.
Thank you so much. That's what basically the enthusiasm of the experience land is. The origin is from the Hull, Massachusetts page that I started with, sharing the beauty and the people from Hull, Massachusetts, where I'm living right now. And then I was getting a lot of feedback that it is just not about the beach or the sand. It is about the people that are making Hull what Hull it is today.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to add more of the meaningful content towards my YouTube channel called The Experience Lab.
You're most welcome. I'm happy to be here.
Thank you. So first thing first, who is Barbara?
So I am born and raised in Hull, Massachusetts, and I'm the youngest of 7 children.
Wow.
And I grew up in an era, the 60s and 70s and 80s in Hull, and it was just such a wonderful time. We were all big families. Everybody knew everybody. Everybody took care of everybody. We had a wonderful school system, teachers that were just off the charts wonderful to the kids. And it's just a very special place. So I was born and raised there. Being the youngest of 7 children, my father died when I was very young. We were probably one of the first families who lost a parent. I was only 4 years old when he passed. And so at a very young age, I started working at 13 years old. And
Wow.
because, you know, if we wanted things, we had to go to work. But also from a very young age, I kind of knew that I was a social worker. I knew that I had to help people. My mother would say, if she was still alive today, this is my little social worker. When I was a little girl, she would tell people that.
Yep.
So I landed in the field of social work after going to college. And during college, I did some social work. I worked at New England Home for Little Wanderers and places like the Hayden Goodwill Inn School for adolescent boys. And when I graduated college, I just happened to see an ad in the newspaper for a director of social services in the nursing home industry.
That is amazing.
And I wanted to learn about, okay, I'm going to take this job working with seniors. It's not something I actually dreamed about doing, but I landed there, and my career found me. So I started out in the nursing home industry, like I said, as a director of social services and a director of admissions. I then went to work in the hospice industry, teaching doctors, nurses, healthcare professionals, and families all about end-of-life care. I've worked in elder law as a care manager. I've been an executive director in assisted living with seniors. And I've been in and out of hospitals my entire career, helping families to figure out what's next for my loved one. So 12 years ago, I opened this practice of Answers for Elders because I really wanted to help seniors my way. I wanted to be able to do things without being regulated or told that I can or can't do this for a senior. So I opened this practice 12 years ago in my living room in Hingham.
That is so unique.
Yeah, so I started in my living room in Hingham alone doing this. And then the end of 2014, I rented this office location on the waterfront in Plymouth, Massachusetts, and have been here since, helping seniors in Plymouth, Bristol, Barnstable, and Norfolk counties in Massachusetts.
I loved one sentence that you used. You wanted to help people your way.
Right, right.
And for that, you did not restrict or depend yourself on any organization or on government.
Right.
You started this journey like, hey, be it rented place, no matter what, I'm going to start it from my bedroom. I just have to get it started.
Yes.
And how old you were then?
I was in my early 50s.
That is so unbelievable.
Yeah.
Because at the age of retirement, when people are like, what do I need to do? I have done enough for the world. Now it's a time for doing it for myself or for my family.
Right,
Is the time when you started opening your doors for the world.
right.
And right now you are as enthusiastic as even a 20 years old would be.
Yes, yes, yeah.
So
Yeah.
and especially for this kind of profession wherein you are taking care for people who are not able to take care for themselves.
Right.
You got to be enthusiastic. You
Yes.
have to be energetic.
Right.
But what keeps your motivation up and high? Because sometimes I'm sure there will be challenges.
Oh, it's a very difficult, it's a challenging industry, but I just really wanted to help seniors and their families to sort of get through this chapter.
Mhm,
It's already very stressful for them, it's a very stressful time,
mhm.
and there's a lot to navigate. There's a lot of muddy waters to navigate in your senior years.
Mhm.
So I wanted to be able to do that and help them get through it. My reward is when someone says to me, "Oh my God, thank you so much." They're relieved that they had somebody that knew what they were doing that could help them navigate whatever it was in their life that was challenging for them. So that's what keeps me motivated, is knowing that I can help somebody get through a very difficult time in a less stressful way.
Makes sense.
Sort of alleviate some of that
Yep.
stress and frustration and fear and worry, and so that's what keeps me going.
So that gives me the beginning of this journey, that how it all started.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about what is Answer for Elders as an organization
Okay.
or as a business.
Okay, so when I first started in this practice, it was called Geriatric Care Management. So the association that I belong to a national association. It's now called the Aging Life Care Organization.
Okay.
And they call us Aging Life Care Experts. So it's
Okay.
basically nurses, social workers, sometimes paramedics. There are physical therapists out there and occupational therapists out there now doing this kind of work. We are experts at anything senior. So we have worked in our careers learning everything there is to learn about seniors and what are their challenges. So things like helping them decide. So a family member comes home and finds out that their mom or their dad or their grandparents, they're not eating well, they're not paying their bills, something's different, something's, not the same. Or there are families that are calling us from the hospital saying, they want to discharge my mom from the hospital and we're not ready, and what do we do from here? Or I've just gotten diagnosed with Alzheimer's, what's next? What do we do next? Or we're helping people navigate their insurances, finding the right doctor, finding the right insurance, navigating that insurance, helping them apply for different types of insurances like Medicare or the prescription plan or the secondary plan, or helping them figure out how to navigate Medicaid. We're helping seniors in their home fill their medication boxes.
Right.
We're attending their doctor's appointments when the family member can't.
Mhm.
We're coordinating their transportation to that doctor's appointment.
Wow.
We may be, helping them find the right assisted living or long-term care facility or senior living, senior housing. We may be trying to find the right attorney or right real estate agent or right clean-out company or organization company. There's a long list of things that care managers do for their clients.
So it's not one thing, you are the one point of contact for everything that is required for seniors, because generally people look for different services for different reasons.
Right.
But you are the answer for everything.
Right, we will find them based on where they are in the trajectory of their life. We will find them the right resources, the people that are going to take good care of them. We pride ourselves on being leaders in the industry and people that they can trust. We really pride ourselves on people that they can trust.
You are the Google for seniors.
Yes, we are the Google for seniors, yes. But we pride ourselves on that they can trust us to have their lives in our hands and help them find the right people, that they're not going to find the wrong people that are going to do the wrong thing for them.
So the place where this whole journey starts is with the challenges what families generally start facing with their elders, with their
Right.
parents, grandparents.
Right.
So what all challenges do you often hear when they come to consult with you? Are they related to the housing or the medical care or anything?
It's all of it.
Okay.
So, we get calls every day from new people, And so, for example, I've had a couple of referrals yesterday where one of the loved ones is in a long-term care facility. The family knows that they want their loved one to come home, but how do we do that? How do we get them home, and are we going to be able to take care of them at home?
Right.
Or, you know, my mother is in now memory care assisted living, but dad's not okay alone, and dad wants to take care of her, and he's so worried about her that he's triggering her when he calls her at the assisted living. What do we do? You know, it's helping with the emotional as well as the spiritual and the psychological stuff that people go through when their loved ones are struggling with that chapter in their lives.
So that's really commendable, you know, because that is the part of life where they need the love and affection, the care, to know that somebody is there to take care of them.
Yes.
And it is not always available that the services that you need are just like handy. And sometimes people do not even have that intelligence or the expertise that what to do. Like you rightly said, that people would probably need the Medicare, but then they need to also ensure that it's getting covered in the insurance.
Right.
So what all challenges have you faced when people are ready to help their elders mentally, emotionally, but financially they come with the challenges?
So there's financial challenges, and there's the challenge. The biggest one I hear the most over the years I've been doing this is they're so stubborn, they're not going to do anything. They won't do anything.
Oh.
And you know, the senior, they're not going to let you in the home. They're not going to let people help them. That is the number one challenge that I hear from the adult children and the spouses.
So they have the money, they have the family,
yes,
but they are not ready to take
They're
the
not
help.
ready to take the help.
Okay.
That is the number one challenge that
Okay.
families come to me with. My loved one really needs help, but they're not going to accept it. And what I try to explain to these families, and it really does work, is that oftentimes your loved one is going to push back on you because you're a family member, so they know the buttons to push.
Right.
They know what to say to get you to do what they want you to do.
Right.
And keep in mind that seniors get very nervous at this age. They worry about their mortality, they're seeing their friends die, they're changing living arrangements, and it's a lot. It's a lot for them to deal with. So they're afraid. In some ways, they're afraid. They're afraid someone's going to take over, and they're not going to have control of their life anymore. So that stubbornness isn't really somebody just trying to be obstinate. It's somebody struggling with, oh my gosh, I'm in this chapter of my life, and now what happens?
And are most of these people living alone, or they are living away from the family, or still these are the challenges they are facing while living with the family?
It's all of those things.
Okay.
We have clients that are alone, they've never been married, no children, no family. There are clients that have a spouse that they're living with that's not well, and then there are adult children that are either living with their loved ones, trying to help them, because there's a large number of people out there today. They've got their own families and they're caretaking for their parents or their grandparents at the same time. So it's every situation. It's, you know, people come to us in every situation. I have a lot of solo agers. They call them solo agers now. So they're living alone, no family, nobody. And they come to me to plan for the future. So there's nothing going on in their life right now, but they just want to know that
because they know that at some point in time there will be no one to take care of them.
They're being realistic and they're
so
planning. So they're coming to us saying, you know, can you help me when the time comes? Yes, we absolutely can help you. And so we take a lot of information about them so that when the crisis occurs, if there's a crisis, we already know who they are and what they may need, and how to help them navigate when they're ready.
It is such a beautiful practice to be a part of. The reason being is because people have money. People have everything that they can do in their lives. It's just that they do not have the family at that time. They do not have one to take care.
Right.
And even after achieving all that success, money, freedom, you name it, you still know what the reality of a life is.
Right.
You are not going to take anything with you.
No, right.
The only thing that you will take with you is your best memories.
Right.
And if there is no one to share those memories with you, I mean, it can definitely trigger a normal person to a bad mental health.
Yes, exactly.
And I am so much proud on people who are proactively taking those services, who are first of all, I would not pray or wish anyone to be in that situation.
Right.
But then whosoever is seeing that is the future coming, or need a little bit of guidance that what can they do if they do not have a family or they do not have loved ones to take care for them,
Right.
I believe people like Barbara and her organization are like the angels for them to guide them, to at least listen to them, that what they are
Right.
feeling.
Right.
Because giving the resolution is still secondary.
Right.
It is more about listening to them and just hearing what they are feeling pain with.
Exactly. Do you know the two biggest risks to seniors is, the number one is falls, right? It's a big risk. But the second biggest risk is loneliness.
Yes.
So seniors really do need to feel connected, just like we need to feel
Yes.
connected. I often say to people that work for me and around me, you know, these people, some of them never get hugged. Hug that person. Give them a hug if they'll let you. Touch their hand, you know, let them know that there's somebody there that cares about them. I also want to say that it isn't people with just money. We do, you know, it certainly costs money to have
Yeah.
our services, but we do take care of people. We find ways to help people that don't have money, to at least get them to the right resources and give them some ideas of how they can get the help. Because there's a lot of Americans out there today that have no assets, they have low income, and what's going to happen to them? Who's going to take care of them? They fall between that donut hole
Yeah.
of, they have enough income to keep them going where they're currently living, but who's going to take care of them when they physically need care?
Exactly.
And inevitably, we're all going, if we're on this side of the grass at 80 or 90 years old, or 75 or 78 years old, we're all going to need some form of help. It's just part of the circle of life and part of aging. It's part of the aging process. So,
Because you named the number, there is a very interesting question that I have. I'm sorry to stop you because what you are about to share with your experience is the addition of what the audience should know, that what the future is going to be looking like, the ones that are not prepared.
right,
So as per the US Census Bureau, the elderly population in the US is growing at an unprecedented rate.
right,
Right now, we are talking about 59.2 million Americans aged 65 and older right now,
right,
projected to hit 82 million by 2050,
right,
accounting by nearly 23% of total population.
right.
So that's the experience that we are talking about,
Right.
that is about to hit, or something to be prepared for.
Well, and it's already hit. I mean, when I started in the industry in 1990, we were talking back then that there was going to be a caregiver crisis. And when I say a caregiver crisis, I mean there aren't enough children, there aren't enough doctors, nurses, social workers, caregivers, home health aides, certified nurses aides. There aren't enough people to take care of all those people. So we've got to be creative in how we're going to help those people get the care that they need. And it's getting exponentially more expensive as time goes on. Nursing homes, which they don't like to be called that anymore, long-term care facilities, assisted livings, and home care are very expensive here, particularly here in Massachusetts, but throughout the United States it's very expensive. So we gotta find ways to help seniors that are living on fixed incomes.
The one thing that I am personally experiencing, because I'm new to the United States, here especially, and I'm sure it exists anywhere in the world, but looking for help is itself is a cost if you need to find the help. You know, like you need to look for, like, just to give you a small example, if an elder care needs to go to a hospital, first that person needs to look for an appointment. That appointment would cost to go to an urgent care, and then urgent care would not give instant results, would keep you on waiting. And then that is the time, energy, cost is not something that probably, you know, someone who is young, who still have time, who's not dealing with any of the existing diseases can
Right.
probably afford.
Right,
But someone who is at that stage in life, they need instant results. They need instant help. So that is the subject that I think that you and your organization come in place to give them the directions, because a lot of time people spend just in finding the directions and reaching to the right destination.
right. We try to help people understand that it's better to go to someone like a care manager who knows all the resources, rather than starting at one place, maybe going to a home care agency or going directly to an assisted living. Maybe that's not what you really need, but if you have a care manager evaluate your circumstances, they're going to be able to better tell you, what does it look like right now? What really should you be doing right now based on your circumstances, your medical circumstances, your financial circumstances, your family support, your social support, all of those things play a role in how really should you proceed. And if you want to age in place safely and financially responsibly, you should really be talking to a care manager. If you want to start even considering going to your financial planners, for example, make sure you've talked to a care manager so that you know, well, what kind of money am I going to need in the next 10 years?
Yep.
Before I start putting money in, say, an annuity that
Yes.
ties my money up so that I don't have enough to now pay for the care that I need at home or in an assisted living because it's just income now.
And the time is changing so fast that earlier you could still, do some investments and probably get a different results in 3 to 5 years. But
Yeah.
now the market is running too slow that 5 to 10 is an average time duration that you got to wait to get the outcome of your investments. So
Right.
when you're talking about the financial plannings, it is not a long term duration that you can trust on your finances and then being able to compare that what kind of benefits you will be in a place when you will be at the age of getting old.
Exactly. And I don't discourage people from talking to their financial planners, they should. What I discourage is be careful what you do with your money and how you structure your money when you're getting into your senior years. Talk to somebody, an expert like an Answers for Elders or another care management practice that can help you to understand what does it look like down the road before you start moving things around. Make sure that you talk to somebody that knows what they're doing.
I can see purely one difference which is very much evident. You yourself have 30 years experience in the same industry, not only by guiding people, but also by educating people, by supporting people, being hospice, education, or nurses. It's more about she's more connected with those kind of cases.
Right.
Now, if you will go to a finance guy, yes, the finance guy would tell you how to make money, how could you, spend less risky investments.
Right.
But that care part would be missing in there.
Right.
And I'm sure that with you, that part would be covered. Aside from that, the actual reality that after 10 years, one thing that you cannot avoid is your health.
Right.
Your money, probably $10,000 less or up would make a difference, but your health going 10% up or down will make a tremendous difference.
A big difference, right. And again, I don't want to hurt the financial industry. I don't mean that. I just mean that sometimes it's important for the client, the elderly person, to talk to somebody that's in the healthcare industry that can look at all of those factors, the financial factors, the medical factors, the family support factors, and say, this is what we think is coming down the road for you based on your circumstances. This is what we think you should be careful of, and who you should talk to about how to proceed based on your circumstances. Everybody's circumstances are different. I had a client years ago who was 83 years old. She went to her financial planner because she only had $150,000 left. She was already having memory issues. Now, again, this financial planner didn't know that. I don't blame the financial planner. But that financial planner recommended that she put that money into an annuity. Well, a year later, she needed assisted living, and she didn't have enough income to pay for the assisted living. So that's what I mean. I think you have to be careful about, talk to somebody that knows, when it might be safe to do that and when it might not be safe to do that. Because we would have done, so for example, Answers for Elders, if you come to be my client, we're going to do some mental status testing.
Yep.
And it's just a small little test. It's like a mini mental test that helps us to understand, do you have any memory issues?
Yeah.
If you have memory issues, I would be concerned about you making big, huge financial decisions without really thinking about how should I really proceed from here.
It is the acceptance that it is okay, even if you are dealing with some issues. Like, I do feel that 10 years back, the things that I was able to remember, maybe now it's not that I'm forgetting things, but maybe, hey, damn, how could I forget that?
Yeah.
So these things do come with the age.
Right.
That's very much normal.
Right.
But avoiding them is not the solution.
No, avoiding them is not the solution. And I want people to understand that it doesn't mean that people have to take control of your life at all.
Yep.
It just means that you're gonna make better educated decisions about your life by being with somebody, by hiring somebody that can help you to understand what's the best way for me to proceed from here.
And I think that is one education that I would highly encourage, the teachers or the experts to also add it in the schooling. That yes, we are being told about the history, we are being learning about the machines and the all AI stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But what is about the humanity? What are we teaching? That at the end of the day, this all technology,
Right,
this all money, you're
Right.
not taking with you.
right.
You're
And
taking.
the technology is not gonna take care of you.
Exactly.
Yes, there's some technology that will help you in your home, but you're still gonna need human touch and
Exactly.
human connection to help you with certain things in your home as you get older.
That is so true.
Yeah.
There is one more aspect I need your advice on, and this is on worldwide. I know that you are serving your services in the United States, but I'm sure you have experienced people and get some, research data. So based on which I will be asking a question. This is based on the World Health Organization. Globally, the population of people over 60 is expected to be doubled by 2050, reaching 2.1 billion. How do you think US compares to other countries when it comes to elder care, having better support systems?
So, I don't really know about the other countries. I do think that, here in the United States, like I said earlier, we don't have enough family members anymore to take, and partially because those family members are having to work, right, 2 jobs. So people aren't living together like they used to. The big families aren't living together like they used to. And in other countries, sometimes the families do stay together
Yeah.
for, throughout the elder years, and they take care of their elders at home for as long as they can. So here in the United States, we don't do that as much, although I do need to give kudos to those people that are doing that. There are people out there taking care of their loved ones at home and still trying to take care of their own families.
Right.
So I think that, we are starting to decline in that sense, in that we don't have the people to take care of our loved ones the way other countries do. And we certainly have the resources, but everything costs something.
And that is, different people would look at things differently. Just like I see the bottle on your table is like half filled with the water. It's my choice if I want to look at half empty or half full. Half full can at least help me to help with my thirst,
Right.
But the one who would just say that it's half empty, it's not going to do anything, then nobody can do anything for that.
Right.
So when you rightly accepted the fact that here there are people in the family that are working 2 jobs and they are running with their own struggles, and it's a genuine struggle that I personally am seeing. I'm new to the United States, and I do see that people are very hardworking. People are, with like any other country, they are getting challenges, but that's one thing that is definitely missing is with the timing that people are not able to cope up. Like I will share one small example. I come from India, and traditionally, culturally, we are very much attached with our families. And services like to the doctors and nurses are like the last resolution when you cannot be the doctor for your parent.
Right.
And otherwise, you would be always there, families, relatives, because the population is there, and that's how we have been taught and we kind of grown up that your parents are your gods, because
Yes.
God cannot take care of everyone,
That's
so you
right.
got to take care of your parents.
That's right.
So that's why I see a lot of differences between India, and I've lived in Europe as well, where the culture is a little more different. But when I came to the United States, and I think here as well, there are different regions that comes with different cultures and traditions, like
Right.
the South and North.
Right.
Is extremely different.
Very different,
So
yeah.
what's your experience about that?
Well, again, in the South, at least back in the past, the South, I think families were very close-knit and took care of each other. Same here. I mean, there are families that do take very good care of each other. But the world has changed in the sense that when I was growing up, not every parent was working. It was 2-parent families, and the husband was out working and the wife was home taking care of the children. And grandparents lived with some of the families. That doesn't happen so much anymore. And I don't really have the answer as to all the whys of that.
Right.
But it's not the same, and you know, we just have to learn to lean on each other and know that there are people here that do know what they're doing, that
Right.
can take care of those elders with you,
Right.
help you as a family
Right.
manage those situations.
That is the first approach, to not get in that mental state that you would need help. But then people like you are also very important to the countries like United States, wherein there is a shortage of youngsters,
Yes.
wherein the younger generation is not even available to take care of the parents. It's not because of the choice, it's because of there is a shortage of younger generation. And
Right.
what is going to happen there? That's where the people like Barbara and her organization are playing an important role and part to help and make differences, because any country would need that support.
We are trying to find creative ways to help people get the resources that they need. It really is, everybody is struggling, meaning all of the industries that are trying to help people, nursing homes, long-term care facilities, assisted livings, hospices, home care agencies, doctors, nurses. There aren't enough of them. And that's why people are finding longer waits to see the doctors, difficulty finding caregivers to come to their home and take care of them. It's here. It's here in America. The crisis is here. And so feel good that there are some people out here that will try to help you find the right resources and get you the help.
Blessed is the word I would call.
Yeah. You know, just that there's people out here still trying to help you get what you need.
That is the acceptance and the reality check that everyone should have, even if the countries who do not have this problem right now.
Right.
But they should be prepared for it, and that's the vision that you are showcasing. That this is probably not your present, but the future is not that far.
No, the future is not that far, and I would encourage other countries to start training people as social workers and care managers and even paramedics. I've had paramedics that have worked for us that are wonderful. They go into the home and like the nurses, they'll triage a situation. They'll say, I'll have a client call and say, I'm not feeling quite right. Can you just come? And we'll send a nurse or a paramedic to check on them and say, yeah, you really ought to go to the emergency room, or no, you don't have to. Let's call the doctor and get an order to help you get this test done so that you don't have to go to the emergency room. But I do encourage other countries to do that, to train people up to do what we do, because it really does help people to have some comfort in knowing that somebody knows what they're doing.
That is priceless.
Yeah.
That nothing can be compared with such kind of service that allows you and being appreciating you at that stage in your life, which is kind of scary, which is equally questioning yourself that whatever you have done in life, is everything worth doing it?
Yeah.
And then you don't have anyone appreciating or just giving a pat on the back that, hey, it's okay.
It's gonna be okay.
It's gonna be okay.
Yeah.
And that's where I very much encourage and appreciate people like you who are there to help these people.
I do try to tell my families that are, particularly those that are in crisis or those that are worried, it all works itself out. It all works itself out.
One incident that you would like to share that is very close to your heart out of all the cases.
Of all my cases, oh my God.
Because I know it's a long journey.
Yeah.
Your journey, I'm not just counting from the answers of elders.
Right.
I'm counting from your 30 years of experience being a director, now to a CEO.
Yeah.
And because you have always been surrounded by people and supporting them. So I'm sure that there have been many, but one instance that is very much close to your heart.
Well, I've had a couple of cases that were very close to my heart, but I had one case in Boston where a social worker that knew me referred this married couple to me. They had no children, no family in the area, and I walked into this lady's home. By the way, she had my mother's name, so I felt the connection right away. She had my mother's first name, and she had hired somebody that she found on a flyer, a guy, to come and shovel her driveway, which wasn't more than 10 feet long, not her driveway, her walkway, and to take out her trash. And she really did it because she was afraid of being alone. They were in their 80s at this point. Well, the man was taking financial advantage of her, and he was literally stealing from them. So when I came into the picture and I found out, we fired him immediately. And
How old this guy was?
he was in his 40s.
Wow. And the person that was.
They were in their 80s. The clients were in their 80s.
That is a shame.
So, we came in and got rid of him, and we reported him to Protective Services and all the things we were supposed to do. They weren't able to do anything about him. But they are always in my heart because we just ended up building a very good rapport with them, and we were able to take care of them in their home until they passed.
Yeah.
So, we took them from beginning to end, and they were just lovely people. And I mean, I have so many families that I could describe like that. I had a nurse that we took care of. We've taken care of many nurses. I took care of a nurse that had nobody, no children, never married, no family left. And we sat vigil with her when she was passing in the hospital. My friend, one of the guys that helps me with some of the moves and things like that, he and I went and sat vigil with her because we didn't want her to be alone at that last part.
So most of these cases that at least I'm getting an understanding, and maybe I would be wrong, because these are maximum amount of cases are coming from people who are left alone.
Well, not all of them, but there are many that do come to us that are alone and they don't have anybody. So those stick close to my heart because they didn't have anybody, and
they never even experienced that. Like that. Like for example, someone who hasn't got married. Mm-hmm. That person hasn't got the experience of what it is to be married, what it is to be raising kids.
Right.
And at the end of the day, that's one very important aspect of your life that you want to live.
Right. So those were people, so that, again, the couple had no children and the nurse had nobody. Mm-hmm. And so we felt it very important. We sat vigil for both of those families because they didn't have anybody here. And we didn't want them to be alone in the last hours of their life.
Wow.
So those stick with me because
you were there.
We were there, and we felt that was very important.
I think that what you are doing is not only satisfactory, it is a relief and a meaning to your life that you are not here on this planet just to copy and paste things, just to follow the rules and regulations, just to living a life in a comparison how much your neighbor is making and how much am I making is about getting out of my shell, doing what I'm feeling like doing. I'm not looking at my age, I'm not looking at my numbers, I'm just there to support people. Yeah.
No, I'm very grateful that I believe that God gave me this calling, that this was a calling for me. Mm-hmm. And I'm very grateful that I got to have the experience here on earth to help people in the way that we've been able to help people. It really is a calling. It's something.
The world definitely need more people like you.
Well, I'm not perfect, but I try to help people. I do the best.
Nobody is perfect, but I think that if we start looking at the ways not for the perfection,
right,
but just for being there for each other, I think that's something that will make the world a better place.
Presence is everything. Even for children, right? They don't want presents, gifts. They want your presence. Exactly. And it's the same thing. I encourage everybody that sees this to go out and check on your neighbor that's elderly. Knock on the door and just have a conversation with them, because that loneliness is terrible for people. And you don't have to do a whole lot. It really doesn't take much to just connect with somebody and let them know that you're there if they need something. They don't ask for much. Seniors don't ask for much.
No.
They just love the connection and love to know that they're safe, that someone's going to help them.
They just want them to be listened.
Right, they want to be heard.
I have spent, because moving out of India has not been the whole journey. I moved out in 2022. Mm-hmm. And I've been very much blessed, surrounded by elders. And because in India we have families are very strong, united, not only within your own family, but with your uncles, with your aunts. Yeah. So in summers, we would go there for a month or two and then create memories that still, are alive in my heart.
That's beautiful.
And with that, when I look at people in the neighborhood, I don't feel that should I talk to them or should I not. I just knock their doors and I'm like, hey, how are you doing?
Yeah.
And especially with this new project with the Experience Land, wherein this is what I'm experiencing with people, that that at the end of the day, no matter whether you are Indian, American, Australian, European, everyone comes with the same heart and feelings that they like to be appreciated. Right. They like to be listened.
Right. Connection is everything.
Exactly.
Connection is everything. So
that is really Good.
Yeah.
So, for someone that is just starting to care of aging parent, what are the first things they should consider?
Well, just pay attention to, what's going on for that senior. Be kind and compassionate, and just, keep your eyes open and your ears open as to what's happening for that person. And when you see that things, and it isn't a bad idea to plan, to know, what do we need to know regarding my aging parent or my aging grandparent?
Yeah.
How can we best help them? I do tell my families and anybody I know, always have somebody at the hospital with your loved one. If they're in the hospital, have somebody there watching over. Because mistakes get made. They're not intentional, but mistakes get made. Be on the lookout for who are they talking to, make sure that they understand all the scams that are out there as
Right.
best you can. Find them the right people that are gonna pay attention. If you
Yep.
can't do it, find them people that can pay attention. And try not to make too many knee-jerk decisions. For example, calling an industry and saying, my mother needs this, or my father needs that. Find an expert, find somebody that can evaluate your circumstances first, so that you're not making knee-jerk reactions and spending money where you don't need to. You may not need to spend money in certain areas. There may be money out there.
Yep.
There may be things that your parents or grandparents are eligible for that you know nothing about.
Exactly.
I can't tell you how many families have come to me and said, oh, the state's going to take my home. That is not how it works. No, they're not going to take your home. It doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of bad information out there.
And I think for that, yes, I mean, these days people are doing the paid reviews where anyone is writing anything. So I would say that do not trust social media 100%.
Right.
That what you see, and I would like to share this on the podcast as well, that we have another page called Unbelievable Facts that is followed by over 9 million followers. And we are about to begin this practice where we are going to meet regular people and test that how much of an educational content are you getting from social media instead of just pulling up and down on your reels.
Right.
So that's an experiment that we are about to start. But like you rightly said, that getting an information is one thing, but then spending time in your researches. Don't just go with the numbers of people that have write their testimonials. It is about meeting the person personally and see. I am coming on this podcast, meeting with Barbara, not just because we met online and we kind of, don't know about each other. It's more about she has lived in Hull for over 50 years. And people know her in person. So it's more about getting that personal connect with people
Exactly.
or the services
Right.
that you're looking to take care for your.
And your instincts tell you the people
Yes.
that you can count on or the people that you can trust to take your family members in their hands and help you with them. Trust your instincts about people. Trust that feeling inside. Is this someone that's really going to do the right thing by my loved one?
I mean, you have no choice when you are going to the Medicare, but trusting the paper bill that
Right.
you can do about it.
Right.
But some things that you can do, I think you should be available to spend that much of time and research to know that care.
Right.
I mean, people are willingly to pay $7,000, $8,000 for a toothache or for
Right.
a root canal.
Right.
Personally, I have experienced that. That's what I'm
Yes.
saying.
Oh my gosh.
So with the insurance, because you know that there is insurance company that is paying out of it, but at the end of the day, you are the one paying the deductible. That deductible is probably small today,
Right.
but in comparison, what you are talking about, your parents' care
Right.
is incomparable.
Right.
So
And there are things to know. So, for example, about insurance, if you don't get your Medicare insurance and your secondary insurance and the prescription plan at the age that you're supposed to get it at, you can be penalized financially for that. So, really look into that for your parents and your grandparents. There are people that don't want to pay, for example, for the pharmacy, Medicare pharmacy programs, because they might have that pharmacy program through a company that they benefited from.
yeah.
But know what the rules are so that you're not being penalized later when you really need that plan.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, the more you get older, the premium also gets high.
Yeah.
But then the policies that were written back in 10 years ago are no longer existing.
I will tell you a story, a quick
Sure.
story. I had a client call me. Husband was at home with Parkinson's disease, had a caregiver in the home for about 40 hours a week. They were paying out of pocket. It was a married couple. The married couple had about $30,000 left to their name. The sick spouse could have applied for Medicaid $120,000 earlier. So he would have been eligible to be getting care in his home through the Medicaid program had they applied, because they thought they had to spend all their money. They thought they had to spend all their money. They didn't realize that because I'm married, my well spouse gets to keep a certain amount of that money and the home, because they have to live.
Yeah.
There is something called the impoverishment laws. Long story short, I walk in the house and they started telling me their financial circumstances. They had been paying for a secondary insurance. So you have your Medicare A and B, and then you buy a secondary insurance that covers everything else that Medicare A and B doesn't cover. They had been paying $800 a month for that secondary insurance that normally costs $180 a month.
Wow.
So within 20 minutes, I was mortified that they were paying that kind of money, and I switched them over to the same exact insurance for $180 a month. But people don't know what they don't know.
Knowledge.
They just don't know what they don't know, and it's not their fault. There's a lot to know. And so that's what I caution people about. If something doesn't seem right, it's probably not right.
It's more about the awareness as well. Like you are having your office, you are meeting people socially, you are meeting people online, and on your website as well, you are making regular updates. I have listened to your radio shows. You are getting out of your boundaries because you don't restrict yourself in any boundary.
Right.
When it comes to support and help.
Right.
So if you are there to serve people without checking mark on your restrictions, why are you, and I'm talking about the family members, are restricting yourself within the limited information or something that you're not aware?
Right.
Spend time, do enough research,
Right.
meet people in person, because once they are gone, they're not coming back,
Yeah.
and you will only live in regret.
Right. Right. Yeah.
So that's truly commendable how you are approaching this whole passion into your profession.
Right. Thank you.
No problem.
Thank you.
One question that I have, because you were talking about the policies. So what policies or change do you think would improve the elder care system in the United States specifically?
So I think that seniors should not be charged taxes on their Social Security income.
Okay.
They should not have to pay property taxes when they become seniors. That's what I would like to see for seniors.
It's all right.
I would like to see that they don't have to pay property taxes. They don't have to pay for taxes on their Social Security should not be taxed. It's low income to begin with. And I think that, at that stage in their lives, they shouldn't have to pay for insurance. They should be covered for their care. They took care of all of us. They found a way to make this wonderful country as best as it could be.
Yeah.
And so we should now be taking care of our elders as best as we can.
That is very beautifully explained.
Yeah.
I hope that someone from the government sees this podcast and hear the words out of someone who is already senior and speaking her heart out, because she is not only the voice of what she feels is right, she is also the voice of multiple people who are coming and sharing their experiences. So this is in tribute and to the respect of all the elders.
Yes. Thank you.
No problem. So if you could give one piece of advice to families navigating elder care, what would it be?
Feel comfortable in knowing that there are people out here that will help you, and find somebody like an Answers for Elders or another care management company in your area that will help you navigate this system. Know that the money you spend on the people that are helping you is short duration. It's not forever. It's short, and it's money well spent helping you to figure out what's really the best pathway for my family member. And learn as much as you can about what the resources are, and what might your family members be eligible for. don't go based on there's a lot of bad information out there. Find an expert, find somebody who knows how to help you get through that part of your life.
That is so true. Other thing that we talked about, that you need more people in this industry. You need more people to support people.
Right.
So how would you encourage the youngsters? Because I'm sure that there is some sort of physical energy that is required to be present. Because I was listening to your radio show that you really flew over with one of your clients to kind of ensure that they are safely returned back to the home. So this is what the kind of determination that Barbara is carrying, that she's flying with her clients to ensure that they are reaching their loved ones safely.
Yeah.
So, and I'm sure that with you cannot be with 10 different people. You would need people. You would
Right.
need support from more young people to be
Right.
available physically there to take care of their elders.
Right.
How would you encourage people to be the part of this industry?
Well, and particularly for caregivers, home health aides, certified nurses aides, I would encourage people that, this industry is paying more than it used to that part of the industry, the caregivers. They are paying more, and they need you. Seniors need you, and there's a lot going on right now with people getting laid off. So I just heard that, for example, here the hospital in this town is laying off quite a few people. Think about a different career. Think about something else that can help people. This can help people, and people need you more than ever now. People need people more than ever now.
So your support is not only restricting to the nurse and the
No.
caregivers, it is supporting people. Like what you are doing right now, you are probably not, because you have lived that journey of being a nurse or a hospice, a social worker,
Yeah.
but right now you are at a position, you are at an experience that you can guide those people.
Right.
And that's why people like you are more important, to give them the directions, to give them the differences, what you have lived your life in and how time has changed and what changes can make difference.
Right.
So someone to start the career in the caregiver, what would be your advice to start nursing?
So in high school, a lot of high schools have vocational programs now for CNAs, certified nurses aides and home health aides. Take that program.
Okay.
It's well worth it. There are colleges that now have the CNA and HHA program. Take that program, and if you're 25 years or older here in Massachusetts, you go to community college, you go for free.
Wow.
So it's a great opportunity to, if you're not finding what you really want to do, seniors really need your help. And if you want,
And you are giving them the help. Like for
Right.
example, these kind of informations, these studies, the courses that are for free, guys, in Massachusetts. I mean, how would you think that? Yes, Google will tell you everything, but the experience will tell you more.
Right, exactly.
And instantly.
Exactly.
Verified information that only you can get from seniors.
It's an extremely rewarding job. I've heard people say, well, Americans don't want to do those jobs. Yes, they do. I have many Americans working for me that love being social workers and nurses and caregivers. They care about the people that they're taking care of. So it's just not true that Americans don't want to do those jobs, or that other people coming from other countries don't want to do those jobs. They do want to do those jobs. They find it very rewarding. So don't discount that caring for somebody is somehow not a great job. It's really very rewarding.
I think that this is not even just a reward, because reward can still be measured, that how much you got or how much I got. I think this is more of a sense of humanity.
It's an emotional
It's an
reward.
emotional connect that
Yeah.
that cannot be measured.
Right.
And unless and until you do not have a heart to help yourself, you cannot have a heart to help anybody.
Right.
So it is a matter that, and again, I'm reminding the story that when she said she was 13 years old when she started working, that is a heart that she has to help herself, her family. And that's where it all began, that what help truly means. And it starts within, if you are not ready to help yourself and just circling around in the motion of world, of reaching somewhere, don't know where,
Right.
it's a separate question altogether. But if you are really looking for a meaningful life, I think that nobody is asking you to be a nurse or a hospice. It is just about taking care of your elders within your house, your neighborhood, listen to them, talk with them, just enjoy their stories. I mean, yeah, there are multiple storybooks that you can read, write, share, but it's a personal experience when you sit with people. You get that energy that.
And you're going to be there someday. You're going to be that person, and you're going to have wonderful stories from your life, or traumatic stories, but they're stories about your life. And we're all going to be there, you know, and we're really young in our minds. No matter how old you get, you're young in your mind and your heart. So we, as we age, still want the same kinds of things that younger people want, the same kinds of connections. And getting older is not easy, because older people start seeing, you know, taking a lot of losses in their life, whether it's with family members and friends, or even moves in their life that they've had to size down because their children have gone, you know. And so it's so important to stay connected with family, neighbors, like you said, neighbors.
Yes.
That is when the world was a beautiful place, when neighbors knew each other and took care of each other. And aunts and uncles, you know, we were very connected to our aunts and uncles at the time. So it's important for us as people to get back to that.
In India, we have always been told that, you know, yes, you have your relatives, you have your cousins, you know, but they will be coming later for the help. It is first your neighbor that is going to knock the door on. So yeah, when people, you know, again run in a different approach of races, oh, which car that neighbor is having, that guy is doing some siding work on his house, why am I not able to do it?
Right.
So those kind of, you know, irrelevant races that people get run into, but I believe that it's the acceptance that what you have to be appreciating about. I mean, you have someone who is living next door to you. Otherwise, look at places where in the entire neighborhood in the street there is only one person living, and you just don't have anyone to talk to.
Right, exactly.
So be blessed and thankful that you have someone nearby.
Yes.
And make the most of it.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Great.
So before we close, one piece of advice that you have for the audience that is looking to establish their career in the elder care. So you shared that from the colleges, they can always look for the programs that are related to the nursing and hospice care. When they are at a stage in life wherein they are now ready to be leaders and can open offices like you, what all things they should be looking for, like for the licenses, for the permissions, because when you talk to people you do need some government authorities.
You have to have experience in senior care. If you want to become a care manager, you should have some experience working in the senior industry.
Okay.
I mean, I had 25 years when I started my company. So I had a lot of experience.
Yes.
Now there are study manuals. You can now study to be a care manager. So go out and get your degree in social work or nursing, or become a paramedic, and then study to become a care manager. There's only 1,800 of us across the country.
Wow.
There's about 188 of us here in New England. That's not enough. We need
that
more
is an
people.
area when people talk about that every industry is challenging, every industry is filled with all the seats. It's like we don't have space that where we can fit. This is the industry.
Yeah.
And
it's not going anywhere.
It's not going
This
anywhere.
industry is a booming industry. We need people.
Yeah.
And our clients need people. So this industry isn't going anywhere. It's a very good industry to get into today.
And especially for young people, because based on the numbers of what we are seeing, that younger generation is definitely a less count in the United States right now. So there are opportunities for outside countries that are looking for a better career or for an organization that can help them grow and maybe work them better back in their countries to learn from here, you know.
Right.
And so that's a different perspective that I would also encourage people when it comes to learning and establishing their careers. People like Barbara are the right approach. So I will be sharing her contact details and the website link in the description box. Anyone who is looking for more guidance, she has a website. Feel free to reach out her, email her, and she'll be more than happy to guide you all in this subject.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Pleasure. Before we close, one last feedback that you have for the Experience Land. How do you see our view of approaching regular people and appreciating what they are doing. Generally, when people think about the podcasts, they look for the celebrities, they look for the politicians, or someone who's already famous that can influence them by setting the example. But the real people that you are meeting on a daily basis have done a lot in their lives.
Yes.
And at the end of the day, they need just being valued, just being heard that yes, they as a human they have done something.
Yeah.
And that's what this whole approach of this podcast is all about, is to appreciating everyday people, no matter you are a plumber, you are a driver, electrician, or you are a lawyer.
Yeah.
What you are doing today to serve yourself, proudly keeping your chin up, is what making you a better human.
Right. I think there's a lot of really regular people, just ordinary people doing extraordinary things. And I think we have to do the best we can to acknowledge them and make them know that what they're doing is helping the world become a better place.
So you think that our storytelling is making
Absolutely. As I said earlier, on his other page on Hull, Massachusetts, it called me, and I think he's doing great work helping people to see that we all need each other, and that the everyday people are important to know, that we're important to know, and to help you and help your families. I think that this is a wonderful concept, and lauding everyday heroes. There's a lot of people out there that are everyday heroes that don't wear capes and aren't popular and nobody knows about them. So I think what you're doing is a wonderful thing.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
It only adds, like with every other podcast and with any new person that I'm meeting, it only encourages me to keep on continuing on this journey, because sometimes you do hear that the person is far away, that the person is far nearby, and because with my travel itself, it's not always easy to cope it up with this speed. But I think that this is the motivation that we all need in our lives. No matter what you are doing, have faith, keep on doing it. If it is your passion, someday you can make it your profession, and the journey is not that far.
Right, and don't be afraid to jump off.
There you go.
Jump off, take the risk and take the chance, and do what your heart tells you to do to help people.
Very well said.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. So this
you.
was Barbara Cannon, guys, and like I said, that if you need any help or assistance in air care, she's the answer.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you so
much.
much.